If you've been posting consistently and you're still not getting clients, this video is going to sting a little, but it'll change the game for you. My name is Justice Severin. I want to go ahead and help you dive straight in here and get to the action. If it's your first time, definitely go ahead and watch through this video. Make sure you get some value, and then you can think about hitting the like button. But if you're returning, definitely, you already know the deal. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you haven't. Obviously, go ahead and drop a hashtag, feels good to be back, hashtag feeling great, hashtag happy, whatever day it is you're watching this. But today, I want to really get to the goods. As you know, and if you don't know, this channel is really made for coaches and creators who are looking to be efficient. They're really looking to go ahead and build that personal brand in a way to get higher leverage, be able to increase their price points without having to go viral and rely on all this. And this is exactly why today's video is going to be smooth for you. Okay, so with that being said, I'm even just going to kind of give you three high-level pieces we're really dive into. Number one, the biggest reason your content isn't converting. I'll give you a heads up. It's nothing to do with hashtags. How to use your offer as the foundation of your content, right? And really the foundation of every piece of content. This is something that can just simplify like crazy for you. And that's what we're going to dive deep into that piece actually there as well. And then I want to really hook you up at the end here with this kind of 3-question filter you can use just to ensure that every piece of content is going to build up demand before you even pitch, right? Before someone ever sees your offer, right? We want to go ahead and just once again build up leverage. I'm always using this terminology around leverage because the more you can have that, the more you can truly get the freedom that everyone is really looking to build, but their actions just they're not showing the same. So once again, I want to go ahead and dive in here too. Definitely go ahead once again. Hit the like button, obviously, if you already know you're liking this stuff and you want to save this for later, but feel free to wait. Like I said, I want to make sure get you some value before you know. But really, I want to go ahead and jump right in. So number one out the gates, build a strategy on a foundation that doesn't require you to go viral, right? So many people that I talk to, especially I'm talking to newer members of my audience, they are so worried and caught up with vanity metrics, right? They're worried about the views. They're worried about the likes. They're worried about, let's just say, even those two alone. When in reality, like two metrics, if we are looking at those types of metrics, what you really want to be looking for more so is comments and shares, right? But even like that's not even the point of this. But I just want to say that for those people who are looking to go viral, are looking for these things, stop looking at the views and the likes. Start looking at the comments and the shares more so. But even more important than that is you don't need to really even be worrying about that one bit. Like if my content isn't being shared, I'm fine with that. If I'm not getting a ton of comments on my stuff, I'm fine with that. And I'm going to show you exactly why. And it's because of the way that I've really built out my audience, the way that I've designed my content and who I know I'm going to end up basically getting those eyeballs onto, right? And really for you, your content right now probably gets zero traction because you're posting for this virality, right? It's getting no traction because you're over here getting stuck up in this game where someone told you that something's going to be easy to go viral, and whether they said it's going to be easy or not, they really built this hope up. And I'm not saying it's not possible, but even here's the thing people don't talk about. You can go viral once, it means absolutely nothing for the longevity of your business. It's like if you're able to go viral several times consistently, sure, phenomenal. But just the typically, and I think there's also something that comes out to as well too, is so many people, the word viral now, I'm seeing that it's just kind of spread out in a bunch of different directions. To some people now, they say, oh, I had to post the one viral. Oh, nice. How'd it do? I had 20,000 views on it. It's like, is 20,000 views really going viral? That's not the viral that you imagine. You're imagining 1 million plus, right? At least a few 100,000, something like that, right? And so that's where, yet again, we're playing into this. We're feeding into this, what really the gamification that these platforms want us to do. And so we need to go ahead and really build a foundation on something much stronger, right? Because the reality is you're not getting results with the type of content because you're focused on getting content in front of the wrong people in the first place, right? I actually brought on a new client about 2 weeks ago, and I have a kickoff call with every client that I have, and leading up to that kickoff call, she sent me a bunch of different questions, a bunch of different questions. I was responding to them, but just the reality was, as each of them came through, I realized that they were all just really the wrong questions. So I knew that instead of kind of going through my normal cadence as far as how I operate with these kickoff calls, I knew I was going to have to come out the gates and kind of crush this false belief, right? Crush this narrative that clearly was instilled by so many, majority of the industry who are kind of preaching that you should go this route, right? And so really people who are most, and this all came back towards in the sense that understanding who it is you're truly making content for, right? That's what it comes back to. So I knew instead of this normal cadence, I had to go ahead and break these false beliefs. And really, this false belief really stemmed around the idea that going viral is 10,000x simpler than it actually is. People will, and I say this because, and this is what kills me about it, is that so many people will say, oh, well, people in my program are going viral. But the reality is a lot of these programs people are talking about, there's tens of thousands of people. And so, yes, of course, the people who are going viral are getting highlighted. But what is the percentage of people going viral? And how often are they going viral? And even more important than that, how is it actually affecting their bank account? Just because you go viral doesn't mean anything in regards of dollars. If your sales process isn't dialed in, if you really just even that, your offer, going viral can mean nothing. That's why people with 1 million followers cannot be making money online outside of maybe what they're getting from just the actual views from their content. And once again, like, are you trying to grow a business just to do that? Or are you trying to grow a business to actually sell something high ticket? If you're here watching this, it's probably because you're not trying to just make money off of views. Sure, if that happens on the side as a benefit, right? Fantastic. But let's not build our business around that. That's not going to get us where we want to get to, because you can't work those odds in your favor. I don't want to play the algorithm viral game. I'd rather go ahead and lean into value and get in front of the right people in order to go ahead and create large sums of money for my business. And then eventually, if you're building this over the long term, that virality will come. But the reality is, think about it this way. Why are people trying to go viral? Because you want to go ahead and make sales. You want to get clients. So stop using the viral as the way to get to that, because there are so many more better, efficient, less algorithm lottery system based strategies to get there. Right? And really, so because of all this, because of taking this approach, so many coaches and creators, they're treating content like a chore. Right? They're checking the boxes. They're not creating, belief shifting content, belief shifting marketing. And your content really just isn't anchored to anything that's going to move someone to buy. That's going to truly motivate somebody to buy. And these are some of the foundations that we need, especially if we want to create that leverage, right? If we want to go ahead and actually build someone up to the point where we can actually be putting out content and know that the trust is getting built up, that know, like, and trust, the authority is starting to rise as we are taking this one-to-many approach, right? It's the going one-to-one is a great opportunity. It can be a lot easier, but it's not leveraged, right? You're investing in your time, not your energy. That's why we can do this on the content side. We can really go ahead and invest in our energy, use our energy to create assets that we can now go ahead and get in front of so many people. And what can we do now to go ahead and slowly move a percentage of these people to the finish line? And it doesn't have to be a large percentage. At the same time, it doesn't have to be a lot of people. And if it's not a lot of people, and if it's the right people, it could actually be a larger percentage, even though it's a lot less people. But this is why it's okay, because we have a higher ticket offer that we're building out, so we don't need the masses. You're trying to go viral because someone told you just sell a $27 thing 50 million times a day and you'll make it rich, right? I'm being dramatic here, but at the same time, it's like sell a $27 thing 20 times a day, 50 times a day, 300 times a day, X amount of times a month. It's like people are just talking to talk at the end of the day here. You have got to get a more realistic strategy to lean into. You will hear objections for selling something for $10 the same way that you'll hear objections selling something for $10,000. What type of problems do you want to have inside of your business, okay? So these are big pieces here. So we want to really, a way to kind of combat this is we want to become very intentional about building your audience, right? So that the right types of content will resonate stronger with them instead of kind of just focusing on putting out the right type of content to a bunch of randos. And this is typically what tends to happen with going viral. You're just putting out content that really, actually what tends to happen is just you're putting out content that doesn't have a ton of value. It's more so just kind of clickbaity. And so it's like if it misses the mark there, now it's just a waste of content. And this is where 99% of content creators are falling short, because that's what's happening. And then they're putting out content that's not good. It's just meant to be clickbaity, but it doesn't go viral, so it's not actually moving people in their audience. And chances are they probably haven't even built their audience with actually viable people who are going to be potentials to buy their offer. Right? So we want to have it now. With that being said here, we want to go ahead and make sure that we create it that the offer is the source of your content. That's going to be a large piece we're going to get into here, because to me, because this is a large piece of it, like I said, it comes back towards also tying in your offer into when it comes down to creating your audience, right? You need to understand, really, the way I like to break it down is you need to understand the core pillars of your offer and allow them to impact conversations, your audience, your content, your branding, these pieces and core elements of the business that if you can just build them all off of what these initial core pillars are, it gives you such a North Star to push towards. That's the problem with people who are trying to go viral. They don't have a North Star they're pushing towards. They're just going ahead and jumping on the next trend, and they're not building their personal brand. And therefore, in the future, they are lacking leverage. Right? Because they spent all this time just mixing up marketing messages on a weekly basis, sometimes daily for a lot of these people here. And I don't want the same for you. Right? So we need to understand the core pillars of your offer and really use this offer as a source that can now, when I say your offer, use these core pillars as a source to really, in a sense, like fund your content, right? And I don't mean monetarily fund it. I mean inspirationally fund your content here, right? So really when it comes down to doing it right? Because you might be asking yourself, like, what happens when you're doing this right? When you're doing this right, I'll tell you what, buyers become pre-sold, sales calls shift. All of a sudden, you're getting on calls with people who actually know who you are. They actually are understanding what your process is, right? They actually know that there's going to be work involved potentially, because you're not just selling them on a pipe dream and then dealing with a bunch of refunds behind the scenes. Your DM conversation shift, your text conversation shifts, energy shifts, right? And the high leverage leads are coming to your door instead of unqualified traffic. This is the way we want to go ahead and do that. And really, we can do this on the traffic side with going outbound. And if we go ahead and dial in our content, we can also get it with the inbound as well too. And the inbound can be either organically or it can be with paid ads on that side as well. I did not spend a dime on paid ads until I made my first $300,000 online. You do not have to jump in right into paid ads. They're awesome. They're great. At the same time, have the balance. I always love to see where you can have profit first and then go ahead and build that up. But at the same time, it takes money to make money here. So I will say this, more so it takes either time or money. Which one are you going to give? Because you can't get away with neither. I'll tell you that right now, okay? And I have two core content goals that I also basically live by when it comes to me making content. Two of them. And you could argue there's so many like subsections beneath these two. Number one, build a stronger relationship and nurture my audience, right? I want to build a stronger relationship with my audience and I want to nurture them, right? And then number two is I want to be the one who is able to give them light bulb moments. These are the two main pieces that I'm really trying to focus on. It's the nurture / relationship building, and it's really this idea of I want to be the one to bust the value over their head, right? Drop those value bombs, hit them over the head with it, send light bulb moments through their door. I want to be the one to be able to do that, right? And even for myself, I put out a post, maybe I'll share it here too for you if I can. I put out a post about ecosystems the other day, right? And when I put this out, I literally had a hot lead reach out to me. They screenshot the post and exactly the exact lines in the post that resonated with them the most, right? That is exactly, like I said, and think about that. I put out a post, somebody screenshot the post, sent it to me, and literally in that screenshot, they, used the iPhone feature and they highlighted on like 4 different lines in it that resonated with them the most. That is who we're making content for. That is the type of thing that we want to be able to spark. Like, how much more trust do you think the person has in me? How much more of a relationship is built because of that? And also, how would you not love to start sales conversations that way? Think about the position of authority you're being put into when that type of stuff happens. People are more likely to be engaged with content that genuinely ties towards what you help you with, what you help people with, right? And this is why, yet again, it all comes right back towards the offer, right? And like I said, and from there, this leads to a very productive sales conversation where the lead came to me, where he came to me on this side. This is what we want to be able to orchestrate inside of the business. It will be game changing for you if you can do this yourself, right? So that's really like the first kind of big pieces I want to really to jump into. Now we're about to jump into, like I mentioned, a lot of this implementation piece behind it. But I want to make sure that you're understanding. Like, let's get that shift, right? So we can really move forward with clarity. Move forward with the right intentionality as we start to really double down inside the business. All right. So really, I want to start off here with the offer side. All right, this comes into now developing your core 3 pillars. So think of it this way: whatever your product is, your service is, you should be able to chunk it down into the core elements, right? And really, these should be tied towards, I'd say, 3 things, right? 3 main things I kind of recommend when talking to students as well, too. Number 1, really, like, what are your core solutions? What are your core solutions? Where do you excel at, right? And what do you bring to the table that you have seen success with? And when I say, like, you need to develop your core 3 pillars, I just happen to list you 3 things that you can start to look for. I don't mean that, like, each of those things is a pillar. I wanted to give you those so you can start to understand, like, all right, what are my core pillars? What is it that I bring to the table? What are my core solutions that I lean into? What makes me different? What makes me unique? What's my unique mechanism, right? These are ways that we want to go ahead and start to really think about what our core pillars are and take time with this. Like, you can knock this out if you've already been doing this kind of stuff. You can knock that out in 5 minutes, 10 minutes, right? At least like the 30,000 foot view, what it looks like. But at the same time, you can go ahead and really, and I think this is really where the magic happens, is when you actually go ahead and you figure out what those are, whether it takes you 5 minutes, 5 hours, whatever. But then from there, you continuously keep it top of mind. And you continuously think about, how can I continuously optimize this? How can I dive deeper in this? How can I get more clarity for myself in order to make my marketing message that much sharper? Allow me to come off that much more unique and different than what everyone else is chirping about in the marketplace. That's where having these pillars can be so big, and how they can really realign your content strategy as well too. Right? Dialing this in will really give you a roadmap for all of your future content. All of your future content. You know, the reality is, all of your content that you are putting out there should touch at least one of these core pillars. All of your content should touch at least one of these core pillars. You know, Dan Kennedy, I'm not sure if you've heard of him. He's a fantastic direct response marketer. And really, he talks about this idea of, and he's not the only person to talk about it, but he's the first person I credit to in my eyes, right? He talks about this idea of principles, strategies, and tactics, right? And really, when he says that too, you know, it's basically, you know, your principle is this main piece, and all of your strategies should be tied towards the principle. They should be related. They should be in direct line with them. Your strategy should not be doing something that's like kind of irrelevant to the principle, or else you're off base. And then same thing beneath that is the tactics, right? Your tactics should now be in alignment with the strategies that you're choosing. So the tactics, you could argue, is like, you know, boots on the ground. Those are your soldiers in a sense. The strategy is in the sense, like, kind of like the multiple game plans you're taking. Maybe it's like, you know, each strategy could be a platform. There's so many different ways you can take this, but the core piece is the principle, right? This is the driver. So in relation to this, what we're talking about right now, I want you to see it where your offer and the end goal of what you want to accomplish with your offer, that is the principle, right? That is the principle. And so every strategy you move forward with from there should be tied towards that principle. And if we follow the same logic, every tactic you move forward with should be tied towards that same strategy here, right? So that's why if you think about it from this lens, you could argue that the tactics, maybe like a part of your strategy is writing content, right? And maybe with the tactics, you're trying to write a different series of content, whatever the case is here. What I want you to see it is how I want you to view this is, the pieces of content that you're putting out, those tactics should all tie towards the strategy, which now means that they all tie back towards the principle. And the principle is your core offer. So every single piece of content you're putting out should tie towards your core offer. This gives you a North Star, and not only does it do that, it also simplifies content creation for you in the business, which is what so many of us are looking for, right? This is why people kind of fall in love with this idea of going viral, because they can go ahead and say, oh, you know what? I'm just going to funnel hack and copy these people, do what they're doing. Oh, they got this like content bundle of all these, you know, standard videos, templates, right? Just like, oh, I just bought a batch of like 500 different stock videos that people have been using to go viral. I'm just going to use those and like slap over the same stock content fonts and all this stuff. It's like just a bunch of stock that you're trying to duplicate in order to make something happen because you don't know what to post about. You don't have a clear vision on how you should be posting. And this is where this simplifies it for you if you can take that time to build the foundation in the beginning. And that's why I want to get the offer dialed in, because it can really go ahead and set you up from beyond there. That is just so critical there. And I'll tell you right now, not enough people spend time dialing this in, right? Especially don't spend time dialing this in advance. So this is why their content truly lacks clarity and direction. And I don't want that for you, right? And so really, with that being said, I kind of have one, you could argue this is like 1 to 2 main different types of content that I post. And really, I mean, basically what they are is belief shifting content and value-based content. You know, this is the core type of content that I create. And really the way that I like to do it is I want to do that while always mixing lifestyle and real life business examples. You hear me say this a lot, where I always say you want to let the business fuel the content. Let the business fuel the content. That's where anytime I'm giving you stories during these videos, it's because I'm just thinking of things that literally have happened and how they have to do with this. It makes it feel realer. It makes it feel more tangible. I'm not just giving you how, right? I had a mentor that once said, facts tell, stories sell. You need to go and have these. You need to mix this in with your content. And this is why, yet again, when people who are just going viral, they don't have stories because they're just thinking of content that they're just coming off the cuff and not in a good way, right? It's like they're freestyling in a negative way that's hurting their business because it's not allowing them to get creative in a way that can really move people forward, build that stronger bond with their audience, which is the goal if you want to simplify and speed up the sales process. All right. And so I told you in the beginning, I want to make sure I hook you up with this here, is I want to give you this 3-question filter that you can rely on when it comes to creating content in order to really make it easier to kind of apply this methodology when you're sitting down to write content, whether it's written, video, doesn't matter, right? Number one, right? This is one question here. Does this piece of content reinforce a belief that the prospect needs to buy from me, right? Does this piece of content speak towards a belief that I know that they're going to need to buy from me? And you can start this by kind of reverse engineering what beliefs people need to have, right? And so it's like, and you can think about it in the sense of two, like, let's just say for me, I need to have people understand, if we think about this video even, that you don't have to go viral in order to make money online. You don't have to go viral in order to have a successful coaching business. You don't need to have a large audience, right? It's beneficial for me if someone believes that before I present my offer to them. And so think about what that is for you on this side, right? Now, number two is, does this call out a mistake they're potentially making? This is a big one. A lot of my content, I'm speaking on this here, where I'm just talking about things that, and it comes a lot of times with stories. There's a reason, like why I shared earlier, how I had the client where with our kickoff call, I had to break down this false belief about how they believe they needed to go viral, or they just believed that it was simple to go viral, right? You could argue, in my eyes, that's a mistake. It's a flaw in their thinking, a flaw in their methodology. You want to think about, what is it that your ideal avatar right now is thinking that potentially, like, what are they thinking, especially before they met you? What is it that the industry, whatever industry it is, have instilled in them where you know that's not the right way of thinking? And maybe right now you might be lacking confidence because you can tell by the conviction that I'm speaking. Basically, I believe that it's my way or the highway, pretty much. And I don't say this in the sense of, as I mentioned this earlier, I believe you can go viral. The reality, though, is that I know to be true, and I truly believe it, is that majority of people are not going viral. And then the small percentage that are going viral, they aren't even making sales because of it. So this is why, yet again, it's deeper than that. So you want to be able to address these mistakes and really, does this piece of content call out a mistake that this prospect could potentially be making, that my audience member could potentially be making, right? And number three is, does this tie back to a result I help with, right? For me, does it tie back to a result of a person being able to generate a client, to a person being able to make a sale, to a person being able to grow their personal brand? These are pieces where, once again, think about it for yourself. Does this tie back towards someone who is looking to lose weight? Does this tie back towards someone who's looking to insert how you help the person? That's the problem. A lot of times too, I will even say people sometimes hit this one. When I think about like viral content, people hit this one, but once again, they're missing all the other elements, which is the problem. And that's why they're having a tough time standing out from the crowd. So we really want to shift this for you and really change up the game when it comes down towards how you're really implementing and going about your business. All right. So that's really a big one here. And really, I just want to make sure that you can have these three because I know it'll equip you really well. And really, even with that too, I do want to take a moment to even kind of like walk you through that I mentioned to you earlier, the story about how someone saw my post. And really, basically what it was is this belief shifting, urgency building, like this position type post. The more you can make these, the better. So I do want to share that with you just so you can kind of get a glimpse of what it was. Maybe I'll just run through like the headline real quick, but really about it on this end. The way that kind of started off was, most coaches and creators are playing checkers when they really should be playing chess. It's got them chasing leads without a true system. So they're left constantly trying to fill a leaky bucket that's got a gaping hole in it. Rough life, if you ask me. Hence, this is where most are getting stuck. Majority of it stems from this blind ambition of seeking attention, and meanwhile, they have no idea where to send folks who are genuinely interested. The biggest shift I personally made, notice I'm switching gears here. The biggest shift I personally made was when I stopped focusing only on getting leads and instead focused on creating an ecosystem that kept my best leads engaged. That is where, and I think that also said, they highlighted that, and then they highlighted this next line for me too. One critical piece that served me well over the years is having a true heartbeat location inside of that ecosystem, right? So they sent me that part and they really, they highlighted that last piece, right? The biggest shift I made personally was when I stopped focusing on only getting leads and instead focused on creating an ecosystem that kept my best leads engaged. I'm trying to reinforce a belief. I'm trying to call it a mistake that potentially they aren't focused on their ecosystem. They're just focused on how can I get leads day to day and don't care where they're going, right? They want to get leads. These are results that I can help people get. These are some of the pieces you want to be able to have inside of your content. You need to be constantly, and this is the thing too. A lot of times people say, "Oh, I already made a post about that." Majority of your audience didn't see it. So like, I'm not saying copy and paste the same post, but say the same thing in a different way. Say the same thing in a different way. If you look down my timeline, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, I'm saying a lot of the same things over and over. I'm just putting them into a different picture frame, if you will, right? This is how you really want to build up. And then the second part really that they liked inside this post that they sent me was a line I'll just scroll through below where it says basically, because from there you can layer on a strong lead generation system so that the right people keep entering and hanging out in your world for the long run. And this is the idea of the ecosystem that they truly were understanding. And this is why, yet again, I was like, now once again, is that the type of post that goes viral? In my eyes, like I would assume definitely not. But because I've been intentional over the years of who I'm building my audience with via outreach and growing my audience that way manually, and on the sense of inbound leads with organic content and at the same time paid ads, I am being very methodical and strategic with the members who are in my audience. I don't just want anybody to be in my audience. I want people who are in alignment with my offer. And this is why, as you can tell, all of this ties back towards the offer. You want to make content that sells, start making these changes, all right? I hope this hit home for you too. Definitely go ahead. Like I said, if you got some value to this, absolutely hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I'm here dropping videos like this every single week. At the moment we record this, it's every week at 4 o'clock. I drop them on Wednesdays. But with that being said too, I want to make sure I hook you up. If you haven't gotten it already, go ahead and drop a hashtag manuscript down below, and I'll actually send you my basically bestseller business manuscript here that I made that walks you through how I made my first $1 million selling coaching and information, and really give away my client acquisition strategies as well too. And really, it's like everything over the past 3 years there. So go ahead and drop a hashtag manuscript down below. I'll get you access to that. Let me know if you got questions, how this applies to you, if you want help reverse engineering your offer, all these pieces as well. But take action, lean in, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care for now.